always been drawn to creating things, and originally I was a chemistry major, but as time went on, I realized that chemistry does not bring me happiness. What does is being able to see my mental state in a physical creation, because everything that you create, you put your thought into it. Being able to express myself or expressing things I didn't even know about myself through my art. I think coming from an Asian household, half Japanese, it wasn't really smiled upon when I told my parents that I wanted to switch from chemistry to studio art, because obviously, there's that stereotype of starving artists. But I think one of the most important things that people tend to forget is that art is the foundation for a lot of things. It's the foundation for creation, because art's main goal is to inspire. And I wouldn't go as far to say that I'm inspiring people now with my art, but I do believe at some point in my career, I want to be established enough that I get to inspire the younger generation to create and to have that curiosity towards the world. Because at the end of the day, I think outside of the artist realm, art is extremely needed. I think one of the greatest quotes, not greatest, but one of the quotes I find very dear to me is the fact that post-World War II, FDR stated in his New Deal, when he was granting artists a lot of funding, is that art is to uplift the soul. And I feel like in this day and age, a lot of people do need that uplifting, whether that be through media, through visual art, through music. And I think on a financial level, I do have a lot of concerns about, if I'm gonna end up jobless or whatnot. But I currently work as an art teacher, and I think if you have a mindset of an artist, because I don't want to speak on behalf of all artists, but I do believe that most artists are curious and also want to fuel the curiosity of fellow artists as well. So I do think teaching is a big path for a lot of artists. So these are some cups that I've made in the past. I make a lot of different things. As you probably noticed, I make a lot of bowls. So this is called bisqueware. So it's first firing. And I've made a lot of mistakes before doing this. Example, subject A, got a crack. It's really gorgeous patterns on the inside. From here. The biggest challenge I have here doing ceramics is, not even only ceramics, but having an artist block in general is probably every artist's worst nightmare, because you kind of plateau and you realize that the progress that you've been making, you've been taking for granted. And usually when it comes to that, at least for me, I kind of spiral into a dark place saying, am I truly an artist if I can't consistently put out work? But I think at the end of the day, it just reminds me that progress isn't linear. And, progress is kind of like that chart where you go up and then you flatline a bit, you go up and then you flatline a bit. Kind of like steps to get better. And I think, especially in ceramics, I had a really tough time growing for maybe 2 or 3 months straight, and it was extremely frustrating, but I knew that if I gave up, I wouldn't get any better. I make mostly bowls, and I think the reason I was drawn to that is because it's one of those things that you don't really think about, what type of plate or bowl you're using. Personally, in my experience, I just grab the nearest bowl-like object from my pantry whenever I put food in it. And I think when I started wheel throwing, bowls are the easiest things to make. So I made a lot of them, but they were terrible. I spent on average about 42 hours. Like I average 7 days a week, about 6 hours each day, probably even more. So I think 42 hours a week is a very tame estimate, but I just want to get better at what I started with before I can move on to the next thing.